Ladies and gentlemen, Hedron is going absolutely parabolic, having done well over 10x in just the span of a couple of days. So in this video, I want to talk about, is it time to get into Hedron? What is the best time to go into Hedron? And a little bit of brief TA and talk about the future of this project and what it can mean for the Hex ecosystem. So folks, if you like the sound of that, do me you a favor, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads, share, like, and subscribe. And without further ado, let's delve into it. Alright, listen, so ladies and genitals of all genders, this is what we call a parabolic rally. Very good to see with Hedron. Now, for those of you who don't know, Hedron is a brand new project protocol that came out just a couple of weeks ago, in which you can encapsulate hex stakes as an NFT and trade the rights to the ownership of that hex stake. So right here, we're looking at OpenSea, and we can see how multiple people have these different kind of hex stakes up for sale. So what this allows people to do is have an additional layer of potential liquidity with their hex stake that you wouldn't have otherwise if you just staked hex the normal way, potentially opening the door to a much wider audience who will now be able to stake hex, given that you now have this more liquid option where you could sell the ownership of your hex stake, who possibly wouldn't have otherwise, given that when you stake your hex the traditional way, you are locked up for whatever period of time your hex stake length is. Now, looking at this chart, folks, I personally would not FOMO into any kind of parabolic run-up like this, or at least I try not to. But something we can note here, folks, is that what we are seeing is we're seeing higher highs in price action paired with lower highs in RSI. That is bearish divergence. And we're noticing we're starting to form a bit of a wedge pattern slash descending triangle here, just a consolidation pattern. Something like this. Again, you could draw this differently by wick basis, by daily closing basis. Anyways, this thing is still forming, but you could see something of a descending triangle slash wedge pattern forming here. Now, I would want to note that if one were interested in picking anything up, something you can keep an eye out for when trying to identify some kind of period of oversoldness within a given range is what I like to do is bust out our Bollinger Bands. All right, and one with a Bollinger Band with a standard deviation of 2 and another of 3. And whenever we enter this in-between period, in between our two Bollinger Bands, well, that can be interpreted as at the very least short-term period of being oversold. So that's one way in which I like to measure whether something's potentially oversold in the short term within a given range, and something you could look out for with any chart moving forward. Now look, folks, something we gotta understand about the Hedron tokenomics is that Hedron is indeed inflationary, but the inflation of Hedron keeps up with the inflation of T-shares. So, as we know, or you may not know, Hex T-shares get scarcer and scarcer over time. Hex T-shares is what determines how much you get paid out in Hex terms when you go to stake. And because it gets scarcer and scarcer over time, well, Hedron will become indeed scarcer and scarcer over time. And the reason why you might want to have some Hedron is because if you use their DApp here, my wallet's not currently connected, or if it is, I don't have any Hex in this wallet, what you can do is you can browse potential liquidations, and you can be able to pick up some potential Hex stakes using the Hedron token. So there's extreme utility to this token, not to mention that you can mint this thing 100% for free. So this is what I really want to delve into with this video, folks. Look, with Hedron popping off, and with Hedron likely to bring in many new users into Hex in the near future, I'm sure a lot of people are going to start to hear more and more about Hedron as time goes on. And I really want to get across the point that while sure, you can 100% buy Hedron on the open market if you so choose so, one of the best ways, in my opinion, to get Hedron, and the founder Alex from Hedron would agree with me, is simply to buy Hex, open up a Hex stake, and then when you do so, you're eligible to mint Hedron depending on how many shares you have and your time served. You will be able to mint Hedron absolutely for free. And that, in my opinion, is the single best way to get into Hedron, because it's a double whammy. You're holding two fantastic assets, one of which you get to mint for free as long as you stake some Hex. Now, something else interesting to note, there was a bit of drama surrounding the Hedron launch. Some people were bringing up the point that, you know, anything where, any protocol, anything in which you can withdraw value from a Hex stake early kind of detracts from what Hex is all about. But we can see that after the launch of Hedron here, we've actually seen an uptick in hex stakes. So this is good to see. You know, the whole point of Hedron is that, sure, it's introducing a new token which might dilute buy pressure away from hex, but at the same time, it's opening up hex stakes to a wider market that perhaps wouldn't have staked hex otherwise if it weren't for this new feature in which you have the liquidity and the option to sell the ownership of your hex stake if you so choose so. Now, to kind of wrap up here on price action, folks, we can see very, very clearly that there is a base of support here at this 5-4 region for Hedron. If we get a daily candle opening and closing below that kind of base of support, probably pretty bearish, or probably an average retracement. Personally speaking, folks, you know, I like to buy on the 618 Fibonacci retracement. If we can get a Hedron around 3.5, I would probably consider dollar cost averaging my way into this thing, but again, I don't feel so. I don't know. I don't think I like the idea of buying Hedron after its first parabolic rally, especially when it's still forming this consolidation pattern. I'd rather wait for the breakout, whether a breakout to the upside, you know, wait for a higher high and then buy into bullish confirmation, or wait for the breakdown and perhaps a retracement to the 618, or maybe even lower to, you know, a previous support/resistance level. Anyways, folks, we will keep you updated on this channel. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and until next time, folks, take care. Hey man, look, I'm just calling to apologize here because look, I saw our most recent video, and you know, I saw what people were saying in the comments, and frankly, it's true. Like, I think, you know, like, I don't want my good looks to detract from like the video and its content. Like, if you just compare and contrast me and you, like, you know, like I'm showing up fresh, right? Like, I'm showing up to par. And I just think there's a bit of a of a dichotomy there, a bit of a contrast that people are noticing. And I'm just calling you to like debate, like, how do we address this moving forward, right? Like, I don't want my good looks like detracting from the content. You know what I mean?
What did they say? I wasn't really paying attention.
Well, it's just the same old, right? It's the same stuff I've been hearing all my life. Like, he's so good looking, you know, he's so fresh, he's so intelligent. You know, how could he put up with someone like Messin? And like, I don't want you seeing any of this, right? I don't want you feeling this. So I'm just calling you to see if we can brainstorm ideas as to like how we can like deal with this moving forward. Like, I don't know how to make myself like look worse, right? Like, it's so difficult. Like,
that's true. That's like with you being like 350 pounds. Like, imagine.
Hey man, fat? Are you fat phobic? Fat has nothing to do. Beauty is what's on the inside.
You went on a tangent for 10 minutes. You know, I gotta throw in something. I don't know. I gotta like, it has to happen.
Well, that's very fat phobic of you.